They've called you a loner, an introvert. They've said you avoid people because you're shy, awkward, or antisocial. But what they never understood is that you are spiritually strategic. You're not hiding from the world. You're watching it. You're not avoiding people. You're aligning with purpose. You're not weak, passive, or disconnected. You are on a divine mission, one that demands discernment, precision, and silence. Chosen one, every time you feel discomfort in crowded spaces, every time you sense a weight in environments filled with shallow noise and empty energy, it's not because you're broken. It's because your spirit has been trained to detect what others ignore. You're not here to be another face in the crowd. You're here to shift atmospheres, but only when the time is right. Your solitude is not isolation, it's an activation zone. Your distance is not rejection, it's a heavenly strategy. They think you're detached, but in reality, you're on a level of awareness they can't reach. You are a spirit warrior in stealth mode, positioned by divine order, moving in silence while the world thinks you're inactive. But today, I'm going to expose the hidden reason why you avoid public spaces. I'll reveal why your so-called loner habits are a spiritual weapon, designed to protect your calling and amplify your impact. This isn't just a message. It's a wake-up call for those who've been misunderstood, mislabeled, and underestimated, because their spirit was always 10 steps ahead. Before we dive into the depths of this revelation, I want you to do something that aligns with this moment. Hit that like button, because every time you acknowledge a message meant for you, you amplify its power. Subscribe if you haven't yet, because this isn't a place for surface-level noise. This is a sanctuary for awakened souls like you. And drop 99 in the comments, because in the spirit realm, 99 represents the ones heaven refuses to let get lost. You're not part of the crowd. You're the missing piece they can't find. Are you ready? Because what I'm about to reveal will make you see your loner nature in a way you've never seen before. Let's go deeper. Public spaces are loud, not just in volume, but in vibration. Every conversation, every glance, every hidden agenda, it all collides into a chaotic storm of invisible noise. And while most people have grown numb to it, you haven't. Your spirit was never designed to blend into that static. You were wired for something different. You are tuned to whispers. You're aligned with the subtle signals that most people can't even feel. The truth is, chosen one, the world has become addicted to distraction. It feeds on noise, thrives on shallow conversations, celebrates empty connections. The louder, the better. But while the crowd is entertained by surface-level chaos, your soul is searching for depth, clarity, and truth. This is why public spaces exhaust you. It's not social anxiety, it's not awkwardness, it's spiritual overload. Your sensitivity is not a defect. It's a high-frequency radar, constantly scanning for authenticity, constantly filtering out everything that doesn't resonate with heaven's blueprint for you. Every time you step into a crowded room, your spirit starts to detect the unseen. You pick up on tension behind forced smiles. You feel the void behind empty conversations. You sense the heaviness in atmospheres that people pretend are light. While they're busy faking connections, you're busy decoding spiritual climates. And that's why it feels overwhelming. Because you're not built to survive in noise. You're built to navigate silence. But here's the secret they never taught you. Your discomfort in these spaces is not a punishment. It's a protection mechanism. Heaven designed you to withdraw when the atmosphere is contaminated. You're not meant to soak in those frequencies. You're meant to remain pure, refined, and aligned with divine clarity. Every environment you feel pulled away from is an environment where your spiritual signal is being jammed, and heaven will never allow a warrior to be sent into battle with their communication lines cut. While others seek to be seen, to be validated by crowds, you've been chosen to see through the crowds. Your assignment isn't in their approval. Your assignment is in your ability to discern what's real and what's artificial. That's why people often feel exposed around you without knowing why. Your mere presence disrupts the masks they've learned to wear, and that's why some will label you standoffish or distant. But the truth is, you're just refusing to drown in shallow waters. Chosen one, every time you avoid a public space that feels energetically chaotic, you're not missing out. You're maintaining your elevation. You're not retreating. You're preserving the spiritual sensitivity that allows you to hear what others are too distracted to perceive. It's in those moments of isolation where your spirit recalibrates. It's in silence that your inner compass realigns with heaven's frequency. But here's where it gets even deeper, and I need you to catch this. The enemy thrives in noise. Chaos is a breeding ground for confusion, and confusion is the fastest way to disconnect you from your assignment. The more noise around you, the harder it becomes to hear divine instructions. That's why your spirit becomes restless in crowded places. It knows that noise isn't just a nuisance, it's a strategic attack against your clarity. But you've been chosen to protect that clarity at all costs. And this is why you've been misunderstood your entire life. While others run towards the spotlight, you feel the urge to step away, to observe from a distance, to protect the sanctity of your inner world. Because deep down your spirit knows that in this war of frequencies, the loudest voice isn't always the truest. You've been chosen to listen beyond the noise, to discern whispers of truth in a world that has forgotten how to be still. But what happens when a world addicted to noise realizes that the silent ones are the ones who hold the answers? What happens when your absence starts to be felt more than their presence? Keep listening, because the next revelation will shake everything you thought you knew about why you've been hidden in plain sight. There's a light within you that the world can't understand. It's not a light that shines for applause, recognition, or fleeting admiration. It's a sacred flame, forged in silence, tested in battles no one saw, and protected by the hand of God Himself. And that light, chosen one, isn't meant for every room. It isn't designed to be casually displayed, casually consumed, or casually misunderstood. Your presence shifts atmospheres. You've noticed it. Walk into a space, and without saying a single word, the energy changes. Conversations grow awkward. Hidden tensions rise to the surface. People you barely know suddenly feel uneasy. It's not because you're doing anything outwardly. It's because the light within you is exposing darkness without permission. And here's where it gets deep. Not every environment is prepared for that level of truth. When you step into spaces filled with hidden jealousy, masked resentment, or shallow intentions, your spirit immediately senses it. It's not paranoia. It's not overthinking. It's your divine radar activating. Your spirit recoils, not out of fear, but out of spiritual self-preservation. Because light that is constantly poured into the wrong vessels gets drained, diminished, and distorted. And heaven refuses to let your anointing be misused. The mistake many chosen ones make early on is thinking they're supposed to fix every room they enter, to heal every wounded person, to shine in every dark corner. But the truth is, your light was never meant to be a public utility. It's a divine asset, reserved for strategic moments and divine appointments. Every time you feel an inner resistance to certain crowds, certain gatherings, certain environments, it's not social discomfort. It's heaven telling you, this place doesn't deserve your light. And here's a revelation that will shift your entire perspective. Jealousy doesn't need a reason to exist. It simply reacts to presence. There are people who will envy you not because of what you have, but because of what you carry. They don't know why they feel uneasy around you, but their spirit recognizes your authenticity as a threat to their carefully crafted facade. This is why certain environments feel hostile, even when no words are exchanged. Because in the spirit realm, light and darkness don't negotiate. They clash. Chosen one, you've been wondering why you feel drained after being around certain people. Why after social events, you need days to recover. It's because every time you step into a space not aligned with your purpose, your spirit goes into defense mode. You're guarding a light that the enemy constantly seeks to extinguish, distort, or exploit. And heaven has given you an internal alarm system, a divine no-entry sign that activates the moment you're in the wrong atmosphere. But let me be clear, this doesn't mean you're called to hide forever. Chosen ones aren't designed to blend in, but neither are they called to shine prematurely. There's a divine timing for your reveal, a moment when your presence will not only be tolerated but required. Until then, every hidden season, every quiet withdrawal, every moment of apparent loneliness is actually a layer of protection being added around your light. And here's where the urgency comes in. The enemy's strategy is to make you believe that your withdrawal is weakness, that your avoidance of certain spaces is antisocial behavior. But the reality is, every time you refuse to dim your light to make others comfortable, you're stepping into a higher realm of spiritual authority. Your light is a weapon, and weapons aren't meant to be displayed casually. They're meant to be unleashed strategically. But there's more. What happens when the very people who once dismissed your presence suddenly realize that the light they avoided is the very light they now need? What happens when the environments that couldn't handle you are forced to acknowledge that without your presence, there's no alignment, no clarity, no breakthrough? Stay with me, because in the next revelation, you'll understand why your isolation has never been about rejection. It has always been a divine incubation for revelation. They call it loneliness. They look at your solitude and see emptiness. But what they don't realize is that your silence is not a void. It's an active portal of divine communication. Every moment you spend away from the noise isn't a moment wasted. It's a moment where heaven downloads blueprints into your spirit. Chosen one. The world has been conditioned to believe that constant connection equals relevance. That if you're not constantly visible, constantly socializing, constantly on, you're somehow falling behind. But for you, it's the exact opposite. Every retreat you make, every quiet season you endure, every moment where you're intentionally unseen, is a moment where God is speaking strategies that cannot be heard in the chaos. You are not disconnected. You are being plugged into a higher frequency. Your alone time is not loneliness. It's divine incubation. It's the secret chamber where heaven whispers plans, visions, and revelations that the crowd will never access. That's why you often feel the sudden urge to pull away. Not because you're avoiding life, but because you're being summoned into a spiritual briefing room where the next phase of your assignment is being unveiled. And here's a truth most people miss. Public spaces don't just drain your energy, they intercept your downloads. Every distraction, every shallow interaction, every forced conversation acts as static interference. It clouds your reception. Heaven is trying to deposit clarity into you, but the noise of external environments keeps jamming the signal. That's why you feel agitated when you're around surface-level energy for too long. Your spirit knows that while others are busy filling the air with noise, you're meant to be receiving silent instructions. Your isolation seasons are not setbacks. They are training grounds. They are spiritual labs where you're being equipped, recalibrated, and upgraded for battles that haven't even been announced yet. While others are busy fighting for attention, you're being sharpened in silence. Because the next time you step into the world, you won't just show up. You'll arrive with a divine strategy that shifts everything. But this requires discipline. It requires you to be comfortable in seasons where no one understands what you're doing. To embrace moments where you have no applause, no validation, no audience, only divine instructions echoing within. And those who lack spiritual depth will see this as a weakness. They'll say you're wasting time, that you're missing out. But heaven sees it differently. Heaven sees a warrior being forged in silence. And here's something most people will never understand. The most powerful revelations aren't delivered in the spotlight. They're whispered in secret rooms. God doesn't reveal battle strategies to the crowd. He reveals them to those who are willing to retreat, to be still, to listen beyond the noise. And you, chosen one, have been entrusted with downloads that are too heavy for casual ears. That's why isolation isn't just a preference for you, it's a spiritual necessity. You've been asking why you've been in such a long season of hiding. why every attempt to be more visible seems to be delayed. But what you must understand is that the longer the download, the greater the mission. Heaven doesn't rush the preparation of those who are called to shift nations, to break generational curses, to dismantle spiritual systems. Your isolation is not heaven forgetting you. It's heaven entrusting you. Because some assignments require a level of precision that can only be crafted in silence. But here's where it gets urgent. The downloads you're receiving in this hidden season are not just for you. They're meant to be unleashed at a divine moment that will disrupt systems, shift atmospheres, and activate people who have been waiting for someone like you. The enemy knows this. That's why every distraction, every invitation to noise, every temptation to dilute your focus has been strategically sent to intercept the downloads. But you've stayed the course, you've remained aligned, and soon the world will see the result of what was birthed in your quiet seasons. But I must warn you, the incubation isn't over yet. The next layer of downloads is coming, and they will require even deeper levels of discernment, patience, and spiritual clarity. Because when the download is complete, the deployment will be unstoppable. Chosen one, spiritual warfare isn't always loud. It isn't always dramatic. Sometimes it's as silent as an unwanted invitation, as subtle as a forced conversation, as invisible as the manipulation hiding behind a smile. And this is where your discernment becomes your strongest weapon. Every time you feel the urge to withdraw from a toxic environment, you are not being antisocial. You are disrupting enemy strategies that were designed to infiltrate your spirit through access. Access is everything in the spiritual realm. The enemy can't influence what he can't reach. He can't manipulate what he can't touch. And every time you say no to spaces that don't honor your calling, you are slamming doors in the face of forces that wanted to infiltrate your purpose through casual exposure. There are people, environments, and systems that function on influence. Not the healthy kind, but the kind that slowly dilutes your clarity, your confidence, and your divine focus. They don't attack you head-on. No, their strategy is far more subtle. They seek access. Because if they can't break you, they'll try to drain you. If they can't defeat you in battle, they'll try to wear you down through distraction, through obligation, through emotional manipulation. But here's the truth. They can't influence what they can't access. Every time you avoid a space that feels off, every time you decline an invitation that doesn't sit right in your spirit, you're not being cold. You're being spiritually untouchable. You're guarding not just your peace, but your assignment's integrity. The enemy thrives on proximity. That's why he sends people into your life who don't openly oppose you, but subtly try to reshape you. It's in the offhand comments that undermine your confidence, the friendly advice that chips away at your boldness, the seemingly innocent relationships that over time disconnect you from your spiritual edge. Chosen one, your isolation isn't rejection, it's divine protection. Heaven isn't keeping you away from people to punish you. It's keeping you inaccessible to forces that would dilute your impact. The less accessible you are, the more frustrated the enemy becomes. Because influence requires entry points. And when you guard your gates, you neutralize their strategies before they even begin. But it gets deeper. Your absence from certain circles is not a loss, it's a power move. Every time you remove yourself from environments that drain your spirit, you reclaim energy that can be redirected into your purpose. You stop sowing seeds into barren soil and start investing your light where it will bear divine fruit. And here's what they don't want you to realize. Your scarcity is your power. The fact that you're not always accessible, not always present, not always blending in, makes your presence all the more impactful when it is revealed. You are not called to be available to everyone. You are called to be strategically placed. Every no you declare to spaces that don't align with your spirit is actually a loud yes to your destiny. It's a declaration that your mission is too important to be compromised by shallow interactions and misaligned energies. You're not withdrawing out of fear. You're positioning yourself for precision. But be warned, as your influence grows, the attempts to gain access will intensify. The invitations will look more appealing. The distractions will be packaged as opportunities. But you must remember, not every door that opens is a door you're meant to walk through. Your discernment will be the key to maintaining your spiritual sovereignty. And this is where the spiritual warfare becomes even more strategic. Because the enemy knows that if he can't touch your destiny directly, he'll try to infiltrate it through relationships, partnerships, and environments that seem harmless, but are spiritually corrosive. But you, chosen one, are unreachable to the forces that seek to dilute your power. Your absence is speaking louder than your presence ever could. And soon, the same circles that dismissed your silence will realize that they needed your discernment all along. But the ultimate revelation is yet to come. Because the very act of guarding your access is setting you up for a divine reveal that no force of darkness will be able to contain. Chosen one, you've been wondering why your life feels like it's moving in the shadows, why every attempt to be seen gets delayed, why doors that seem wide open suddenly close when you step near. Let me tell you something that will flip your entire perspective. You are not being overlooked, you are being strategically concealed. You're in stealth mode, not because you're hiding, but because heaven is positioning you for a strike that must be precise, disruptive, and unstoppable. Warriors don't reveal their strategies before the battle begins. They move in silence, observing, refining, waiting for the exact moment when a single calculated move changes the entire battlefield. Every season of isolation you've endured wasn't a punishment. It was preparation for a divine reveal that will dismantle systems, expose falsehoods, and activate destinies. You see, the world is obsessed with visibility. It celebrates those who are constantly on display. But heaven operates differently. Heaven knows that premature exposure is dangerous. If you reveal a warrior too soon, you compromise the mission. That's why God has kept you in stealth mode. Not to delay you, not to frustrate you, but to ensure that when you are revealed, there will be no force, no critic, no agenda capable of stopping what's about to be unleashed through you. You're not just being hidden, you're being fortified. While others are exhausting themselves for attention, you've been gathering unseen power. Every quiet season has been adding layers of spiritual precision, layers of discernment, layers of authority that can't be shaken when the spotlight finally finds you. And here's the mystery. The enemy has been searching for you, trying to predict your moves, trying to anticipate your rise. But stealth mode makes you untraceable. Your growth has been invisible to them. Your strategies have been unfolding in realms they can't access. They thought your silence meant stagnation. What they didn't realize is that your silence has been a prelude to an explosive reveal that will break algorithms, disrupt narratives, and realign destinies. Chosen one, you've been positioned like a spiritual sniper, moving in silence, observing the terrain, waiting for heaven's signal. And when that moment comes, your impact will not be gradual. It will be sudden. It will be undeniable, unstoppable, and unignorable. Because the stealth seasons have prepared you for a level of execution that leaves no room for resistance. But here's where the urgency intensifies. The world is approaching a tipping point. Systems are shaking. Structures are crumbling. There is a vacancy for authentic voices who have been trained in silence, refined in isolation, and who carry strategies not corrupted by the noise. That's why your reveal is not just a personal breakthrough. It's a strategic deployment in a spiritual war zone that's been waiting for a warrior like you. You are not called to be visible all the time. Visibility isn't your power. Timing is. And when heaven orchestrates your reveal, it will be at a moment when your visibility is not just seen, it's felt, it's needed, it's unstoppable. You've been hidden, but you've also been loading. Every silent day has been a download of divine precision. Every unnoticed effort has been a layer of unstoppable authority. You're not waiting in vain. You're being synchronized with a moment where your presence will shift the atmosphere the instant you arrive. But don't get too comfortable yet, because what I'm about to reveal next will show you why everything you've endured, The hiding, the misunderstanding, the spiritual warfare has been leading to a conclusion that no force on earth or hell will be able to stop. Listen to me, chosen one. You were never created to blend into crowded rooms. You were never meant to shrink your presence to fit into shallow spaces. You are not here to be another face in the crowd. You are here to command the atmosphere when heaven says it's time. Every door that didn't open for you was heaven saying, "Not yet, I'm still sharpening you." Every place you walked away from was a divine reroute, protecting you from being diluted by environments that were never worthy of your light. While the world saw isolation, heaven was seeing incubation. While they mistook your silence for weakness, you were being loaded with revelation. You're not being hidden, you're being weaponized. Every second of solitude was an upgrade. Every quiet moment was a download of strategies no system could predict. You're not stuck. You're being stationed. You're not avoiding life. You're preparing for impact. And here's the prophecy that must echo in your soul. When you step into your ordained moment, it will not be subtle. It will not be negotiable. It will be a shift the world can't ignore. You are not being delayed. You're being aligned with a moment where everything you carry will be unleashed with surgical precision. You are not a loner. You are a legend in preparation. And when the unveiling happens, they will realize you weren't hiding from them. You are being positioned for a move that will alter atmospheres, disrupt systems, and awaken souls. Chosen one, this is not a time to doubt your journey. This is not a time to crave visibility. This is a time to anchor yourself in the certainty that you are heaven's secret weapon, waiting for the perfect strike. And if this message ignited something in you, I want you to declare it right now. Comment below. I'm not hiding. I'm being prepared. Let the unseen realms hear it. Let every force that tried to dilute you know you are not retreating. You are loading. Because when you move, it won't be a step. It will be a spiritual eruption. Your time is near. Your moment is written. And when you're revealed, they won't be ready. Share this message. Like it. Subscribe if your spirit has been awakened. Because the stealth warriors are rising, and you're leading them.